What's up, my peoples? I am Gandhi, and today is number 20 of Gandhi's thoughts, and it's gonna be a long episode today. And the reason is because there's a lot of history about both these teams we're going to be covering. So without further ado, let's just go ahead and jump into it. The first team we are going to be covering is Pulse Ambush. Now, Pulse Ambush is it's a new squad, but it has three of the same players. It still has Richie Hines. It still has EDW Snipedown, Eric Rona, the man, the myth, the legend himself, and then it also has my son Formal on it as well. But they have a new addition in Pistola, and the reason I'm going to talk about Pistola first, and the reason is because this guy he is the GOAT. Of this era, he is the greatest of all time player. And the reason is because Ogre 2 has stepped down from the Halo scene, and he started to pursue Call of Duty, right? So you got to look at national championships from there. And out of everyone else, it goes like Ogre 2 with 5 national championships, Walshy has 3, and then Pistola has 2. So Pistola is the GOAT. I mean, Walshy doesn't play anymore at all, really, right? Like I haven't heard or seen Walsh stream or do anything in a long, long time. So I don't know what he's up to, but he's also a personality, so he is out of the equation. So it is all on Pistola now. So Pistola is the GOAT. Now Pistola, he is a complete savage in every way, shape, and form. And the crazy thing about Pistola is I've seen him honestly blossom into a living, breathing, truly functioning adult. Pistola jumped on the scene in 2007. And in 2007, I was still playing. I was still on Team Carbon. Things were awesome. It was Halo 2. I was a top player. I was winning national championships. It was wonderful. I heard about Pistola in the off season going into the 2007 opener. Going into the opener, there was this thing that was created called Tour de Walshes. Now, a Tour de Walsh was a free-for-all that went all the way to 1,000 kills. There was no time limit. It was just you get in there and you play free-for-alls until 1,000 kills. And I was like, I have nothing to do. I'll do this. I'll give it a shot. I'll see how it is. It's probably good practice anyways. I mean, you got to think. You're playing to 1,000 kills. There's people like Strong Side, Walshy, Best Man did a couple of them, I think. Players like that who were free for all. So I was like, maybe this will work out. But then there was this guy named Pistola, right? And there was a lot of buzz about Pistola, and I was like, he's a kid, like, and I'm cocky, right? I'm like, he's a kid. Who gives a shit? Like, there's no way he's good, right? Well, I get into the free for all, and he literally lights people on fire. He is just destroying everything in his sight. And he gets away. He's double shotting. He's winning individual battles. He's cleaning up kills long range. And I'm like, this guy's such an online champion. He's such a clown. Like, I can't stand this kid. Because when you're a player and you have an ego, when a new guy enters the scene, the first thing you do is just, you try to knock him down a peg. You're like, it's online. Fuck you, right? But so then the event came around, and I didn't even bother competing in FFA back then because it was a guaranteed loss. It was like I was screwed, and I knew I was screwed, so I'm not even gonna bother. But so the first event came out, and I can't remember if Pistola won it or not, but he got like top 8, and then he guaranteed finishing the top 8. But he's like 13 years old. He won a couple of FFAs. I'm not 100% sure how many he had. I should have done a little bit of research on there, but regardless, it's not the important part here. But so in Halo 2, he was teaming with Killen, who was like Karma's best friend at the time. And, Killen tried to take him under his wing, tried to get him better and better, but Pistola was stuck in this rut of only being a free-for-all kid. And that was kind of how, he got his start, was because of free-for-alls. Unfortunately, his skill didn't carry over to 1v1s, so he ended up losing at the national championship. But regardless, he still made it to the 1v1s. Now, 2008 came around, and as everyone knows, there was a new game released called Halo 3, which was probably the most successful of all of them, period, right? So that's always, good to be good at. But Pistola, FFA wasn't really big at all in Halo 3, right? Like, it started to be like a side event for like the Big Flex 4 free-for-alls or, stupid shit like that, okay? And so, hold on one second. I have to look at this. Oh, Perfect. So there you go. So I just got a list of people, and I want to see real quick if how many events Pistola did actually win of free for all, because I can't remember for the life of me how many he has. Halo 2. Okay, so of course you don't have free for all in there. All right, so that was a big waste of time. Thanks, Coach Main. Appreciate it. He gave me 4v4 placings instead of free for all, which is what I needed. But yeah, so Pistola was like a top, he was placing like top 32 and shit. And that was, that was still good for Halo 2, right? Like there was a lot of players. But so moving forward, Halo 3 comes around and Pistola turns into this player who all of a sudden understands 4v4, and everyone's kind of like, it catches a lot of people off guard. Like a lot of people are like, I don't know about this guy. I don't know where he's coming from. I don't know what's going on. But the big moment was when Pistola and his team, and I want to say Hysteria was on it, and I want to say Richie Hines was on it, but I'm not 100%, defeated straight ripping at the 2008 Orlando event. They beat them in the winners bracket final, or the winners bracket like semis or quarters or something crazy. It was a ridiculous upset, and Pistola was going absolutely just bonkers with the sniper. It was pit team slayer. Everything was going in their way, and like the final push, like Pistola drops down, or one of the guys from the team like drops down on runway, which is, you have sword base here, and he like drops down in the overshields underneath the bridge. He like drops down, and they like just make this frontal push, and they just take him over. So Pistola from that point on became a complete just destructive freak show, dude. Like you watch Pistola and you know that you're gonna see a highlight reel. Like he gets running riots. Not like for you Halo 1 guys like Killing Frenzy. He gets running riots in tournaments. He rips people's face off. He out BRs people with no shields. Like, this is what he's known for. He puts on a show. Okay, so 2009 came around. He gets picked up on Triggers Down, or the Triggers Down forums, like the real Triggers Down forums, and they go back and forth with straight ripping all year. They end up losing in the national championship to Classic because Hysteria's box magically, like it's honestly like a complete just random series of events. Like his box shut off as he's mid-air trying to cap the flag, right? So he's like, Hysteria's mid-air trying to cap this flag. His box shuts off, and he was host. Like the only person that it would have affected, it's host, and he cancels out. And MLG decided that they did not win that game, and they have to replay it. So then when they replayed the game, Team Classic ended up winning that. And then they went to Game 5, I want to say, and they ended up beating them out and went to the winners bracket finals. So that was in the semifinals, and that was a dagger. That's kind of like the beginning of the Richie Hines curse. I say Richie Hines curse because Richie Hines always will win an event in the regular season, but when it comes time for nationals, he gets 5th, 6th. Like that's where he's at. So Pistola turns into this player. And a lot of people give him a lot of credit, and rightfully so. You could probably argue since 2009, Pistola is the best player in Halo, period. Like, of all those Halos since 2009, so Halo 3 from 2009 on, Pistola was the best player. Kind of fucking crazy, right? Like, that's just one person. So that's Pistola. He ends up winning the 2010 National Championships with Final Boss. He forms God Squad. He wins 2011 National Championships, and then when it's no bloom, no sprint, they lose an 11-game series to Status Quo. Moving forward, we're going to talk about someone who's a little bit more of a freak show. Let's talk about Snipedown. Snipedown is a player who a lot of people, I feel like, should get up behind him because he has that magnificent noob story. Okay? When I say that magnificent noob story, I mean he's like what everyone thinks they're going to be when they go to an event. Right? So Snipedown first got his name heard of. Like he started becoming known in Halo 2, and he posted a video of him getting 100% hit. So there used back when games were good. I couldn't resist. On the stats, you could see like how many the percentage of shots you hit, and if you were, 60%, 50%, 40%. It was a good way to know. We used to, on Carbon, we used to always say, if you're shooting anything above 50, you're not putting down enough shots across the map. And this is online, right? Because the reason is a lot of your shots don't hit across map. So if you didn't shoot over 50, that was kind of our thing. But Snipedown posts this video up, and it gets thrown up on MLG, I want to say. And he gets 100% hit percentage on a midship FFA. And everyone's like, what? Is that real life? Like, this guy's such an online kid, right? And his name's Snipedown. Like, he's such a noob. Like, he's got a noob name. He's shooting 100%. He's an online kid. Everyone knows. It's like, okay, yeah, whatever, Snipedown, relax. We get it. We get it, Eric. But he was actually good, right? But no one actually gave him a chance. So then when Halo 3 came out, he was like, you know what? I'm going to go to an event, and I'm going to show people what's up. Well, he sees immediate success. Snipedown is the hottest thing on the 2008 circuit, period, because every team he goes to either wins an event or gets second. He is humongous. He is doing everything right. No one can stop him, and he makes humongous plays with the sniper. There is a game that I will never forget of my life, and that's it was Capture the Flag on the Pit. It was Straight Rippin' versus Carbon. Now, this is the new Carbon. This is the Carbon after they dropped me. And I may have been casting, I may have been playing back then. I'm not 100%, but it's Capture the Flag on the Pit, and Snipedown is just on a tear. I think they end up losing the game, but Snipedown is on a tear. He literally zooms in through a crack, like literally this big. So on top of the pit, you have those towers. You have those crates, right? And like that little wall. Well, at the bottom of the wall, it was like a screw was missing, like just a tiny screw was missing. And out come Anarchy's like trying to shoot him, and Snipedown's just like, whatever, fuck you. Zooms in, double time, bam! Jumps out, bam, double. And then he ends up getting like a triple kill. And everyone's like, holy shit! Like, that just happened! And from that point on, Snipedown was like the best. Like, he was the shit. Like, there was no touching Snipedown, period. And that was crazy to see. Now, Snipedown ends up falling off a little bit. 2009 Straight Rippin' stays the same. They're still the exact same roster, and they end up getting 5th, 6th. I forget who they lose to. I'm assuming they lost to Believe the Hype, since that is on that side of the bracket. But they lose, and they get 5th, 6th. So Triggers Down and Straight Rippin', who were like these two dominant teams, end up getting 5th, 6th in the 2009 National Championship. 2010 came around, and it was kind of like a weird year for Snipedown. I don't know if Eric got too comfortable with where he was at, and that's why he it felt to me, when I was casting, it felt to me that he just kind of lost his drive completely, right? And everyone was they were on edge. They were like, I don't know if Snipedown's that good or not. And then he ends up forming a team. I want to say he ends up playing with Dynasty, and he's playing with Tizoxic and 2 other people. And I'm not 100% on it, but he doesn't even grab the sniper. He's like, oh, I don't need the sniper. It's whatever. And I remember casting and being like, oh, well, Snipedown's definitely going to be getting the snipe, like, right off of this map. Like, this was his bread and butter in 2008, was this map, and it was Narrows. So Narrows comes around, and he's like, goes top middle, and Tizoxic or someone else on his team grabs the sniper, and I'm like, what the fuck is going on? And I talked to Eric after. I'm like, Eric, man, what are you doing, man? Why are you letting someone else grab the sniper when this is, like, your game? Like, this, you were the spark of, Halo 3. And he was like, I just feel confident in my shot, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, it's the worst decision I've ever heard anyone make in my entire life, period, ever, exclamation point. But so that was Snipedown. Reach came around. Snipedown saw some success, but he never returned back to being in that dominant fashion as he used to be in 2008. Since 2009 too. So from 2009, Snipedown's kind of gone on a steady decline. But when Halo 4 came out, he released a video of him going like 25-0 on Team Slayer on Solus, and everyone's like, wow, he's back, right? And everyone loves to see Snipedown return because Snipedown is a monster like that. Right? And that's really, like, a monster almost doesn't even do a justice for him. He's like a serial killer. right? Like he just kills everything in sight. But so that's Snipedown. So now moving on to Richie Hines. Now I told you guys this is going to be a long episode, right? Because there's a lot of background here for these players. There's a lot of background. So I still apologize for all of that. Now let's talk about Richie Hines. Richie Hines was a player who I can't tell you if he came out in 2006, 2005, but I know for a fact he was there in 2007. He was a Halo 2 kid. And right away, if you're a Halo 2 kid, you have my respect instantly. Just because, that was my scene, if you were still there and you're still a part of the scene since then, like you've paid your dues 100%. Like, there's no doubting that. So Richie Hines started off, and he was kind of like a combination of like a free-for-all guy, but also you could tell like he was just young and he wasn't good enough at 4v4s. I want to say he ended up getting top 12, maybe even top 8 at the 2007 National Championship. So he started to see some success as he got older. A big thing with Halo is a lot of people have to realize that there's a certain amount of maturing you have to do as a person in order to be successful. I think the earliest, I peaked when I was 16, 17. So Royal 2 was like 15, 16. Snakebite was like 15, 16. So you can see like that's kind of like the age because you have so much downtime as well, but you also start becoming, not philosophical, but I guess kind of. You end up starting to think about Halo philosophically, and you find out how to team with players and how to put confidence in players, and stuff like that. But so Richie Hines started to do better in Halo 2. But then Halo 3 came out, and he was teaming with Pistola a little bit throughout 2008. 2008 was kind of like a big blur to me, right? I was playing with it, but I was like didn't really want to play, and I was prescribed Adderall, so I was just like a fucking train wreck of a season. But 2009 came out, and Hines and Pistola worked together. Hines was on that Triggers Down squad, and this is the beginning of the Richie Hines curse. 2009 comes around. Richie Hines, notable player. Good chance he's going to be able to get first place at this event. He gets 5th, 6th. Second year, he gets 5th, 6th. 2011. Right, so Halo Reach comes around. Richie Hines is still a player. Richie Hines, the thing about Richie Hines is he's like black coffee, and I can also give you another example. Like he's kind of like the Red Hot Chili Peppers of Halo. And what I mean by that is what you're gonna get when Richie Hines shows up to an event every single time. He's black coffee. He's the same thing every single time. He's a great dude. He brings a lot of passion into the game. He's very smart. And 100% he's going to talk your ear off about sports because that's what Richie Hines is glued to sports. He watches every sport, period, ever. And I'm not knocking him for that. Like, that's badass. But, like, that's how it's going to work. So he is black coffee. He is the Red Hot Chili Peppers. Like Red Hot Chili Peppers release a new CD. It's going to sound the exact same as every other one, but you'll probably give it a listen. So that's that. So 2011 came around. Richie starts off kind of on a slump. He was on Dynasty for a little bit, and then Richie Hines ends up getting picked up on. I want to say the team was no, it was Ambush. It was Ambush. Richie Hines gets picked up on Ambush, and Ambush becomes this team that just kind of comes out of left field. Formal's on the team, and I to be honest, I even forget who else is on the team, to be honest. But Richie Hines gets on this team, and he wins an event. They win awesomely. They force Instinct, the God Squad, to get 5th, 6th, and everyone's like, oh my god, like how is this possible? And then, so the big thing that was going on is that when you lost the losers bracket semifinal, so how brackets work out in MLGs and probably how they're going to work out in AGL if I have anything to say about it. You do the winners bracket semifinals on Saturday, okay? So the loser of that gets to sleep in till about noon-ish, probably 11. But while he's sleeping in, the guys who lost, winners bracket like quarterfinals, right before semifinals, they get to play that match early Saturday or early Sunday morning. They get to play that match at like 10 a.m. So as instincts coming down from their hotel rooms and they're getting the sleep out of their eye, Ambush already had this awesome event. They're already good to go. They're fired up. They're ready to roll. And so Ambush steamrolls through Instinct. They end up beating them like 3-1, and it wasn't even like that, even close to a series. It was just a dominant fashion. Foreman was putting on a show, and Hines was just, he was just doing Hines things. He was winning his individual battles. He probably won about 60% of them, and he was running the objective. And it's Dynasty. Sorry. Okay, like I said, it's been a long time, all right? Hines has been on a lot of fucking teams, so that's that. But so, they run right through him, and that was kind of like the sign where I was like, okay, Richie Hines is back. This is his time to win a national championship. And it is Dynasty. The reason I thought Ambush, because Ambush I thought was purple, but Dynasty was purple. I used to be... Okay, we got it. So that's that. But yeah, we know Hines won 3 tourneys in 09, Tom Shansky. Relax. Jesus Christ. God. This kid's retarded. But so, Hines wins an event. Hines wins an event in 2011, and then it's towards the end of the season, right? I think there's 2 events in between it. And then I go, okay, this is it. This is his time to end up winning a national championship. I was like, the God Squad is not going to do it. Like, they showed that they've kind of slipped off. I don't think they're going to do it. I'm predicting Dynasty to win the entire thing. Well, sure enough, Richie Hines' curse is still intact. It is still there, and it is still perfect. And that's that. Richie Hines cursed at 5th, 6th. I really hope if we ever see a Halo return or a Dynasty or a Destiny rather return to like a Major League Gaming, I would love to see if Richie Hines can actually get out of 5th, 6th at a national championship. So that's Snipedown, Hines, and Pistola. The last one on the team is Formal. How do I put Formal? I don't know Formal's entire story. Okay, I'm not going to act like I do, but what I do know about Formal is this. Formal came out in a dominant fashion in Halo Reach. I've never heard of the kid, period. I'm sure he's going to say he's probably like a Halo 3 or Halo 2 kid, but we all know, like, you're a Reach kid, right? You're a Reach kid! That's a joke about, people. But so, Formal comes out, and he's just this Asian sensation, okay? He's just like he's got like his hair all styled. He's kind of, metrosexual-ish, but not like too metrosexual-ish. And so, he jumps out into the scene, and he's making a very good splash, okay? And finally, I get to cast one of his matches, and he just rips face with the sniper, and I'm like, what the fuck is going on? Like, why is this happening? Like, how is this guy doing this, right? I'm like, who is this guy? Like, it's a little Formal, right? But so Formal ends up destroying, right? And I'm like, okay, well, Formal means business, and I'm impressed with that. So I end up adopting Formal via Twitter. I send him a message. I'm like, Formal. I sent him a tweet, not a message. I brought it right out in public. I was like, Formal, I think I'm going to adopt you as my son. And he goes, all right, I'll take that. And then that's good. So he's my Twitter son. But so 2011 came around. He wins one event, which is good. He makes his scene. He makes his splash known. Since then, I forget how they fared at the 2012 Columbus event. I gotta think probably 5th, 6th, because he's teaming with Richie Hines. But so then since then, Halo 4 has come around, and Pulse Ambush is kind of like that team that everyone kind of looks for. They used to have APG, but now they've picked up Pistola. I think it's a great addition to the squad, and they're kind of the favorites going into AGL Nashville. So that is the history of Pulse Ambush. I told you this is going to be a long one. I'm sorry. So let's move on to the other favorites. And the reason I call favorites is because they're kind of um, they're like fan favorites, right? But they're still really good too. And the reason I say fan favorites is because they have the one and only Ninja playing on their team. Now, the thing that's good about Ninja, so like if I had a live crowd behind me right here, and I'm like, they had the one and only Ninja on their team, and I pause, like, this shit will fucking erupt, right? Like he's a fan favorite. That's just how it is. He has built his name. He has a legion of troops behind him who would literally die for Ninja probably. And it's kind of crazy, right? Like you go into a stream and you're like, whoa, easy, settle down. But that's badass, right, for Ninja. So Ninja's claim to fame, was kind of reach. Okay, I first met Ninja at the LAN network, and everyone's talking about Ninja this, Ninja that, Ninja this, blah 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 blah, and I'm like, relax, okay? I know how to spot talent. I've been doing this for a long time. He's probably an online kid. Well, sure enough, I show up to the LAN network, and the reason I went to the LAN network was because Puckett was stepping down from becoming a caster, and he wanted to teach me how to do play-by-play. So I'm over there, and plus I'm taking notes, so it always works out. So I'm over there, I'm learning things, and I'm watching Ninja play, and I'm like, I can't decide if he's, like, good, or if he's just, okay, right? And he's teaming with good players. I forget who exactly that team was that he went to his first event, but he's teaming with good players. I want to say it was Victory X, Fear Itself, and Tots, but I'm not 100% sure. But I'm pretty sure it was Victory X. No, it wasn't that, because Victory X and Fear Itself were on Final Boss. Man, I forget. I forget who it was, but regardless, I'm watching him play, and I'm like, I don't know if this kid's good or not. Like, I can't figure it out at all if he's good or not. So, as things are going on, I'm like, oh yes, Swift Kill and Calm. That's exactly it. Thank you in the chat. So he is playing with Victoria's Secret. VS. Thank you. See that? That's a perfect light bulb. And Watch. It was Swift Kill, Calm, and Watch. And I'm watching them play, and they're doing well versus these top teams. They're doing well versus Final Boss. They're doing well versus Triggers Down. And Invictus. Son of a bitch, that's what it was. It was Invictus. Victoria's Secret was something else. Whatever, man. They didn't even get top 8. But so Ninja's on this team, and I can't figure out for the life of me still if he's good or not. I thought Swift Kill and Calm were really, really, really good as well. But so they're doing well on LAN, and then they show up to the event, and they don't get top 8. And, it really kind of took me off guard, and I was like, well, maybe we should hold the phone here and see, what's the big buzz about this Ninja kid. And I really don't even mention his name that much until the end of Halo Reach. Ninja starts streaming and putting out videos and everything like that, and he's, if you watch Ninja, he's like a personality. He's in there. He does crazy things. He's fucking full of energy. He's kind of like a dog chasing a car. Like, that's Ninja. Like, he's doing one thing and then, oh shit, a squirrel, right? Like, that's Ninja in a nutshell. Which is bad. It's funny. And so, so everyone starts, giving Ninja this fucking plethora of respect, and I'm like, he hasn't earned shit, and I'm an asshole, right? So, and I'm like, he hasn't earned shit. He gets nothing from me, and so he gets like 2 top 8 finishes in his entire Halo Reach career. And everyone's like, oh, Gandhi, you don't know what you're talking about. Ninja's so good. And I'm like, no, listen, this is the thing about Ninja. This is the thing I still to this day say about Ninja. Like, I like Ninja as a person is awesome. Like, I don't hate Ninja. Like, that's not it. Ninja as a player is someone who does really well versus shitty teams and does not as good versus good teams. Finally, now he's starting to merge that over, right? Like, he's seeing a lot of success in Halo 4. But Nashville's going to be that test, right? He's going to be going up against Pulse Ambush. He's going to be going up against Fnatic Classic. He's going to be going up against Status Quo. He's going to be going up against Team Faded. It is time to see how Ninja does versus these top caliber players again. Like, there's multiple people, right? The last AGL did not go well for Warriors. What did they get? 6-2, 6-1? So the thing is Ninja has to find a way to merge his online success to playing very good players. And I think that's something that, is going to happen over time. And I think it's something that we will see very, very quickly. So that's Ninja in a nutshell. Ninja, great personality, crazy fucking dude. Like, I'm a crazy guy. But, he needs to step up when his team needs him. So, next. The man, the myth, this guy has so much background, right? Like, there is so much background about him. He actually has a full mode named after him. And I'm talking, of course, about Beast Mode. Beast Mode is coined after Legit, right? Like, too legit, to quit. Brian Rizzo, the man himself, is a complete savage in every way, shape, and form. Legit has the ability. Legit came out of nowhere in 2006. Actually, I think it was 2005. Well, regardless, he was a Halo 2 kid, and he wasn't just a Halo 2 kid. You can make the argument that, Legit was the best player in Halo 2. I will defend myself in that, and defend Ogre 2 and Strongside to the death of me. But in the top 5, probably Legit was in there, right? Like, Legit was a monster in Halo 2. But Legit was known for just taking games over. He had the ability to outshoot people. He had the ability to be a free-for-all kid. He had the ability to outsnipe people, and he had the ability to just make plays happen. And he had this thing. There was this time where I was playing Legit in 2007, and he was on Perfect Storm, which was him, Nated, God, I forget the other two, but it doesn't matter. It was him and Nated. It was a Perfect Storm. And I'm talking shit to him. Like, I'm sitting here, and he's sitting right there, right? And I actually opposite, because we were red, because we were higher seed. So I'm sitting here, and he's sitting, like, right here. And no, it was not Fonzie Fallacy. And I rape Legit. And I look over at him, and I'm like, dude, you are so not good at this game. Like, I have no idea how you're even in this series right now. And he looks at me, and he just is like, the look of death in his eyes. He just, like, straight stone-faced me, and I'm like, shit, this did not go well. And so it's lockout TS. It's lockout TS. And, dude, I swear to God, he comes off the respawn, right? He gets a God spawn, and he BXRs me, and I'm like, fuck. And he's like, sit down, God, dude. And I'm like, yeah, good one, right? Like, you're good. And then, like, he, like, gets sword. He kills, like, our whole team. He grabs a sniper. He rips our face off. And then we end up winning the game, and we end up winning the series. But he was, for that moment in time, like, he was God. And there was nothing that, like, we could stop him. Like, we killed everyone else. We were like, don't even look at, we had, like, a mid-game, like, discussion. We were like, don't look at anyone else. Just don't look at Legit. Look at everyone else. Don't even look at Legit. Let Legit just do his thing, because he's too fucking good right now. And so Legit goes on a tear. We still win the game. Blah, 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 blah. 2008 comes around. 2008, Legit gets the best player in the game award, which is ridiculous to achieve. The fact that we stopped doing awards is, one, laziness, two, on both accounts, the league's and ours, and two, I don't know. I really don't know why we stopped doing awards, but it was amazing. Legit, in 2008, had the same ability to just take over games and really get everyone behind him. When we went over to Canada, he ended up wearing a USA bandana, which he was probably the first one to scream America ever. Even though he never said that, but by wearing a USA bandana into Canada, you're basically saying America, right? And he's like, fuck you, Canada. And so Legit sees success, and he wins his national championship. He also won one event in Halo 2, in 44 with straight ripping in 2007. He wins multiple events in Halo 3. Then he kind of falls off completely. Legit kind of steps down from Halo, but he's still like a part of the scene. He kind of goes just to go, right? And for a while there, I was kind of worried about Legit, and I was like, Legit, man, are you playing? Are you not playing? And he was like, I think I'm gonna play again. And then, when Halo 4 came out, he won the Dallas event, I think, right? Someone correct me if I'm wrong here, but I'm pretty confident the Halo 4 event he won. So he wins the Dallas event with Warriors, which is like a humongous asterisk period ever. But they keep this team together. But Legit is really looking to come back into his old ways. Now it's a lot harder, I think, once you're getting older, just because I'm older and I'm a fucking trash can at the game these days. But that's that. That's how it happens. But I'm expecting Legit to really start doing amazing things at this game. I think Nashville is going to be one of his events where he gets to show everyone that he's still fucking legit, and that is badass. Now, let's talk about Goofy. Let's talk about Faisal, right? Let's talk about a little guy named fucking Faisal. Goofy is a player to me who came completely out of left wing, right? I was like, whoa, where'd this guy come from? Like, he's like 15, 14, 13, 12, 10. I have no idea. He's known to get into the enemy's heads. He's also known to annoy the enemy team, which is good, but, it's annoying for some people to deal with. Regardless, Goofy is a player who I don't actually know a whole lot about, but what I do know about his playstyle is that he has the ability to take over games. And by that I mean he just has this knack of putting himself in positions to make humongous plays. He's a pretty decent communicator. Besides online, he seems to be this like whiny little bitch. But at LAN, it transfers over, and that's how a lot of people are. Shockwave was kind of the same way. Shockwave used to be this big bitch online, just this big raging cunt, and no one could stand him. But then on LAN, he never complained at all. And that was that. But so Goofy's kind of the same way with his online. So moving forward here, Goofy ended up making his splash in Halo 3, and he was actually one of our Matador Bold players. Now, if you don't know what the Matador Bold player is, well, give me a fucking second, I will tell you. The Matador Bold player, was a person who did a bold play in the game. That bold player, one of the bold players was Goofy. Goofy got a ridiculous spree of kills on Team Slayer on the Pit versus, I want to say it was Triggers Down. I know SK's face got ripped off, and I'm pretty sure he was only on one team like ever because he was glued to the hip of Hysteria. So he gets this crazy spree, and he's just ripping people's faces off, and we're like, all right, you know what? He's the bold player. Like, there's no doubt in my mind. Like, they just upset Triggers Down. He's the bold player. And so from that point, Goofy kind of floated around the top 8-ish, like give or take 2 or 3 spots. But he never really emerged. He never really, like, developed as a player. Like, you never heard Goofy being, like, a top 12 player. You never heard Goofy being a top 10 player. You never heard Goofy going into the finals, like, things like that, besides Dallas, which is an asterisk, so relax. So you kind of wonder, you kind of step back and you go, what is Goofy missing? And the big thing Goofy's missing, I think, is just, not so much maturing more, but Goofy just needs to work on his own self. Like, just keep working on his own self. If he just changes just a little bit, just a couple things, he's going to be better, right? Like, he really is. But his big thing is he saw immediate success, and he doesn't want to break out of his old ways. Like, he's still glued to how he used to be. And I think when that changes, then he'll start being a better player. But he is the Matador Bold player. He got a backpack that only, 3 other people or however many people got it have. ass ton of Matador beef jerky, and I think it was like 5K or like $1,000, something badass, right? Like it was crazy. So that's that. That's goofy. Now, rounding off here, let's talk about Ry Noob. Now, Ry Noob is a player who, like he to me, I was like oblivious to Ry Noob. He was a really good noob. I know he came from the combine. I was completely like, who is this guy? I have no idea who he is. Relax, right? But he came out and he was swinging for the fences. He saw instant success. He went from like combine to pro circuit to getting top 12 to getting pro status, and then as soon as he gets like top 12, MLG is like, oh my god, look at this, the combine's working. The combine has worked, Doritos. We need you more. We need more combines. This is a wonderful story, right? And so, suffice it to say, the combines didn't stick around. But Ry Noob ends up playing on a team at the before. Okay, so how the 2010 championships worked was there was a playoffs, and you had to fight for that 8th spot. You had to fight for that 8th spot. Now, the 2009 season was fucking catastrophic in the sense of household names not making it. 2 household names who were notorious for making national championships since 2006 did not make it for the first time ever. And that is, of course, Straight Rippin' and Team Carbon. Now, Team Carbon was a very different team. Walshy was on it, and, you know, that was that. Shockwave was still on it. And then Ghost Ayami was on Straight Rippin'. It was Defy, Nated, T-Squared, and Ghost? The fuck? Like, what kind of Straight Rippin' lineup is that, right? Like, everyone's like, what the fuck is going on? Ghost, you sell out pussy. But so, they end up getting eliminated, okay? And then, meanwhile, you know, there's still points. But then, meanwhile, there's this team, Darkest Hour, okay? Darkest Hour was, it was Ry Noob, Batman, I want to say, like, Twilight, and someone else. But regardless, let's focus on Ry Noob alone, okay? Ry Noob's on Darkest Hour. They are literally destroying teams. They are upsetting everyone. They were like 13th place, 14th place, or something ridiculous. And so, Ry Noob is on Darkest Hour, and finally I get to cast his match in the Losers Bracket Finals. And if he makes, if I can't stress this enough, if Darkest Hour were to make second place, if they were to make it to the grand finals here, then they would have made it to the national championship as a 13th seed because of the points. And that's just like, what the fuck, right? And everyone, you know, we were all taken back by it, and we're like, dude, there's no way. And so I finally get to cast Ry Noob, and I'm like, dude, this guy's, I think he understands the game at a much different level than everyone else because he's such a fresh face. And you know, that's his Halo 3 career, so he made a name for himself right away. Then Halo Reach came out, and right away everyone knew, like, Ry Noob was the nerdiest player. Capture the Flag on Countdown, from Event 1 to Event, you know, whatever the final one was, however many was in between. Capture the Flag Countdown, his thing was spawn, sprint, front of the base, grab flag within 6 seconds. Every single game, no matter what. No one ever caught on to that for whatever reason, but every time I was like, well, we know what he's going to do. But so that's that. Ry Noob became this nerdy, very fundamentally sound, intricate player, and he hasn't looked back since. Now, Ry Noob, for whatever reason, still gets a lot of flack from the community, and I'm not sure where or why that happens, but regardless, Really Good Noob is a really good player. And he's kind of, I would say he's kind of like a young Walshy in Halo 2, right? Like, he's just this, like, weird, mad scientist motherfucker who's really good with objective. Like, that's how I picture Ry Noob. So, talking about this whole team, Warriors has to be a favorite. One, because of the fans, but two, because, you know, they have stuck together and they do have the teamwork and chemistry together. So, looking at this Warrior squad, it's really going to depend on how, you know, how everything goes at the tournament. Now, I always talk about how crazy tournaments can be, But so like again, until I see a bracket, I can't release any predictions. Like that's just how it's gonna go. But that's gonna do it for episode 20. It was a long one. I'm glad you guys stuck around for all of this. This was fun. As always, it's gonna be up on YouTube. If you like this, click the like button. I enjoy compliments and comment. If you want a team covered, just let me know. Just post it in the comments or send me a tweet at Scondy, even though that's not even close to a signature of Scondy. But it's going to do it. Peace.